Hello there. You're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
And in honor of the release of One Battle After Another, we will kick off our director analysis of Paul Thomas Anderson by discussing his flawed 90s masterpiece, Magnolia, his cacophonous rom-com, Punch Drunk Love, and his stoner neo-noir, Inherent Vice. All right, we'll start with some news. We're going to do an update on the Jimmy Kimmel situation. It has been resolved pretty much. He's back on air to, his one of his greatest ratings ever. I think it was the second best. Like 6 million people tune in. And then I'm sure many, many more millions checked out his monologue on YouTube. I was one of them.
Me too.
So
it's too bad it was boring as hell. Too bad it was a stupid, boring Jimmy Kimmel monologue and not something passionate or awesome in any way.
Yeah, I mean,
it was just very run of the mill, cut and dry. I don't know. It's Jimmy Kimmel. I expected it to go crazy, but it was just the same as it always was. Same as it ever was.
I mean, sure, trying to toe the line there. I mean, it'd be crazy if he got on, said all this stuff, and then immediately got yanked once again. That would cause a whole other firestorm. So I'm sure they had talked about there's a line here somewhere. And then also I think genuinely, at least with the particular situation, he spoke very earnestly about the Charlie Kirk part of it all. And he was like that was not the intention at all. Again, he's just more interested in taking it to Trump. So
yeah, but
I think he made that part clear.
Why was he crying?
That's his human response. I don't know. I mean, I think that's a little ridiculous to try and police his reaction. I mean, if that was genuine, that's genuine. That's how he felt. So, I mean, good on him for that and being able to express it. But then he also, again, he took the hard stance of hey, as far as freedom of speech goes, this was unacceptable, and I will not stop criticizing the government or making jokes. And so, good for him on that. But again, the big takeaway is neither of us would watch Jimmy Kimmel otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch his monologues.
Millions of viewers would not have watched Jimmy Kimmel otherwise.
Famously, we're Conan guys, so.
Yeah. And Graham Norton over in the UK. Big Graham Norton fan.
Love Graham Norton and Craig Ferguson as well. So, yeah, those are my peeps. The two overseas guys.
Stephen Colbert. And honestly,
Ginger
I fuck with Seth Meyers. I like Seth Meyers.
Yeah. I've never really watched a full show of his. I've seen a couple of monologues. Not my speed. And Stephen Colbert, I like. Obviously, I liked more of his earlier stuff. But yeah, as far as watching a full show, it would only ever be Conan.
Sure.
But again, it's good that he's back on the air. At least for that first week he was back. Sinclair and Nexstar, those broadcast affiliates of ABC, that were the ones that were we are not going to put him on. We're going to preempt him with some other stuff. They held to that, but then I think Sinclair has since said they'll start running him again. Nexstar, I don't think has decided that yet. So we'll see what comes of that. We'll provide more updates to that end. But for now, Jimmy Kimmel is back on air until next year when they cut him for actually having bad ratings. And then we'll see how that goes. But yeah. And other news, Joseph Kosinski's Miami Vice reboot is coming 2027. So,
and I'm a Florida native and available to play the Don Johnson role. I look good in a Lamborghini, a nice white Lamborghini.
Hey, I believe it. We'll make it happen somehow.
That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, we have seen Kosinski revive Tron, revive Top Gun. So now he's going on to Miami Vice. He is a one-man stop for
dude. Loves his movies. 80s shit, bro. Loves his 80s movies, bro.
And 80s legacy sequels. He's all down for it. He's got the monopoly on that at the moment. So
they're good. They're good movies.
They've been all good.
They've all been great. Tron Legacy is the GOAT.
Top Gun, Maverick. It's just fantastic. It was my top 2 that year. 5-star film. And then I really like F1. I think it is good. I rewatched it recently in theaters again, and I'm I enjoyed it. it was like on its way out of theaters, and I had
Mm.
just been watching a bit of, because on Netflix they have the Drive to Survive, so I'm like, oh, let me check this out a little bit.
What is the
Um,
Drive to Survive?
it follows the each episode will focus on like a different driver, but they try and follow
Mm.
like interesting stories that develop in the season of F1 for that
Okay.
year, and then the following year they release that documentary series. It's like 10 episodes, I think. Um, and so yeah, I was checking out a few episodes of that, and it's cool because again, like there's only 20 drivers, right? 20 seats total. So you get to like see the same faces are popping up, and especially if they're teams. So you get to see more fleshed out like rivalries and dynamics between the drivers and their teams. So I thought that was cool. And then I wanted to check out F1 again, having more understanding of F1.
Mm.
And I was like, this is really solid. I enjoy it.
Nice.
So yeah, I will be very much excited for the Miami Vice reboot. And yeah, once you get cast, we will reveal that on the show, of course, once we're allowed to.
Yes. I'm very excited for that. Yeah. I'm gonna look really, really good in a Lamborghini, guys. I swear. In other news, Martin Scorsese has another film in the works. It is an adaptation of the book What Happens at Night by Peter Cameron. The plot line is a couple goes to a European town to adopt a baby, and then things get kind of weird and trippy with the random strangers walking around the hotel that they kind of interact with. It's supposed to be like thriller-esque, psychological thriller-esque. And it's going to be another reunion with Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio. He's coming back to the Scorsese verse, and he's
Hmm.
being joined possibly by Jennifer Lawrence, which is exciting.
That would be
I
very exciting.
when I heard the announcement in the that I was being adapted by a book, uh, I I ordered the book from the library, so it should be coming here soon. I'm going to try and read What Happens at Night by Peter Cameron to get a good taste of what we're in for.
Very
Love
cool.
Scorsese, and every time he adapts a book, it turns out pretty good.
I wonder though if this will actually come through, because he's kind of getting to be like the Star
He's
Wars
notorious,
announcements
yeah,
where
yeah.
they just don't materialize. I mean, we've got
Yeah.
Leonardo, his FDR movie, or was it the Teddy
It was
movie?
Teddy
Right? Teddy
Roosevelt.
Roosevelt.
Didn't
Like that
happen.
has been coming in the pipeline
Devil
forever.
in the White
Hasn't happened.
City didn't happen.
Devil in the White City, and that's gone through. At some point, Leo was like, "Nah, it won't be me. It'll be Keanu." And then they're like, "No, it will be me." And then it's like, still hasn't happened, movie or television
Mhm.
version. So, The Wager, which was another book from
Yeah.
the
Dude,
author
I
of
read
Killers of the
Devil in the
Flower
White
Moon.
City hoping that they would make the movie because I was like, I'll read it now and then when they make the movie, you'll be ready. And
Mhm.
never made it. Canceled. And
Yeah.
I read Killers of the Flower Moon too. Thank God they made that one.
So it's been a lot of things, and then the Hawaiian crime movie with Dwayne Johnson, that was in the
Yeah.
works, maybe. So
I'm
we'll
glad
see
that
which of
didn't
these
happen.
projects actually comes to fruition. But yeah, if this did happen, obviously anything with Scorsese and Leo is going to be amazing, and then Jennifer Lawrence, that would be awesome to see. So
Dude, Leo's on a really great run this decade.
he is. I
Ever
mean, yeah.
since ever since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he's been on a fantastic run.
Hmm. Does that include Don't Look Up?
No, it does not. But
So
everybody
3 out of 4.
yeah, everybody has a dud every once in a
I
while.
don't think that film's great, but he's great in it.
Sure,
So
yeah. I mean, his performances, I can't think of a movie where he's bad. I'm sure
exactly.
they exist. I probably haven't seen it.
But yeah, all right. Our box office breakdown for September 19th to 21st. Demon Slayer: Infinity Castle retains the crown with 17.3 million, despite a hefty 75% drop. So just goes
A
to show
fat
how
drop.
terrible things are for the rest of the box office this weekend. But yeah, Demon Slayer stays on top and has crossed 100 million domestic total.
Turns out anime movies are even more front loaded than superhero movies.
Hmm.
Everybody will come out for that first weekend and then nobody's going to see it again. In second place was the Jordan Peele produced horror film Him with 13 million and some atrocious reviews.
Indeed. The Conjuring Last Rites, 12.2 million, putting its domestic total over 150 million.
And then Downton Abbey, the grand finale, was 6.4 million.
The Long Walk, 6.2 million.
A Big Bold Beautiful Journey debuting with 3.2 million, flopping really, really hard.
Yeah, sad to see it. Poor Margot
Very.
Robbie, poor Colin Farrell.
Apparently, they just don't have chemistry, is what I've been hearing.
I know that's sad to see. Again, the trailers didn't look too bad. I mean, I was like, okay, I'll want to go see this, and then the reviews just turned me off to it. But yeah, unfortunate to see that.
Yeah.
The Senior with 2.6 million.
Toy Story in its re-release for its anniversary, 1.4 million.
Sight and Sound presents Noah live, 1.3 million.
Don't know what that is. Weapons, 1.2 million, bringing its domestic total to approximately 150 million, which is huge for a horror movie.
Absolutely. So yeah,
Big
great
win.
job to them. As far as predictions for September 26th to 28th, of course, it's one battle after another. Do you think that this will continue the streak Warner Brothers has created this year so far of $40 million openings?
No, I don't think so. It's PTA, who notoriously is underappreciated at the box office, and even though it's been getting quite a bit of promotion from Warner Bros., I just don't think it is as like star driven, even with Leo in there, as it could be to get people to sit down. It's a very long movie. It's rated R. Those are always big knocks against doing good at the box office. Even though we've seen some really big successes for R-rated films this year, especially Warner Bros. I don't think it's like genre enough to attract people in the same way that a horror movie might or a superhero movie might.
Mm-hmm.
And I know PTA. I know what his box offices look like. I'm thinking it's not getting past 25 in the day in the opening.
Tis a shame because
It is. It is a shame.
it would be awesome if it were to get 40 million. But yeah, I'm hoping it can get 25 mil. We'll see
Yeah.
how it does. But more important will be its second weekend and thereafter to see if it has really strong holds
Yeah.
and it's able to make a lot of money because the budget pretty hefty on this one. Again, we talked
Yeah, it
about
is.
ultimately their strategy is going to be this is a big awards contender, but you want to make some money. So we'll
Yeah.
see if they're able to recoup that massive budget. Um, but yeah, so 20 to 25 mil, somewhere in there seems more likely. But God, if only 40 million.
Dude, I wish it should. It should. In the right world, in the just world, it makes 100 million in its opening.
Then that would be incredible.
Everybody. I will say, having recorded this, I've seen it already, and everybody should see this movie. Like it is timely, and even if you don't end up liking the movie, you will appreciate how relevant it is to our current day situation, especially here in America. It is very well done, and you should go see it.
Indeed.
That's all I'll say about it for now.
Yeah, we'll cover it more in depth next week. But for
Absolutely.
now, dive into our director analysis on PTA. So as far as the career overview and his reputation, kind of goes without saying at this point. But I mean, he's clearly heralded as one of the greatest living directors at the moment. All of his films, as far as for cinephiles, people that love films, are events. So they're always showing up opening weekend to go and see it. Um, but for you, Dylan, what do you think about BTA and his current, position in the cinema landscape?
Dog, uh, he was like kind of lower on my list when I first started getting into like movies and like more niche movies. Even though his movies are not niche nearly at all compared to some of the other stuff. When you start getting into movies, there's like layers to kind of the nicheness of films that you watch. And PTA and like Tarantino and Wes Anderson are like film bro type, movies where it's like a layer below pop culture stuff, but still
Mm-hmm.
close enough to a lot of times they will resonate into pop culture quite a bit. Uh, while still being like artistic and have artistic value. And I gotta say, when I first started getting into movies 10 ish, 12 years ago, I was not the biggest Paul Thomas Anderson fan. I liked Boogie Nights, and that was it. I had not seen most of his other movies. I think I had seen There Will Be Blood and thought it was okay. Um, I just was not like, I was like, Boogie Nights is great. I don't really know what else he has. I'm not really sure if he's like going to be somebody who's going to keep making movies that I'm interested in. Because I was really into like Tarantino, The Usual Suspects, very film bro type movies.
Mm-hmm.
Fight Club, all of the toxic trait, red flag favorite movies. Is what I was into in high school. And you go to college, you meet new people, you watch new things, you watch more and more and more every year. Your tastes change because of the things that you watch. You become more in tune with what you like and what you don't like. And I have to say, Paul Thomas Anderson might be my favorite living filmmaker at the time. At this time,
Really? Wow.
yeah. I mean,
That is massive, massive praise.
I can't think of anyone else who I love more, except for maybe like Bong Joon Ho or perhaps Wim Wenders because he's still alive. But although I haven't seen any of his movies that came out in the last 15 years, I have not seen Perfect Days yet, which is unfortunate. Um, Maybe Wes Anderson, definitely high up there. You know me, I'm a gigantic Wes Anderson fan. Always have been, always will be. You'll never be able to sway me on Wes Anderson. But the more I watch his movies, the more I respect like the auteur movement in cinema and the unrelenting power that a writer director combo can have on a story, and like the kind of story he tries to tell, the originality of his stories, even when they're based on novels. Which Once Upon a Time or One Battle After Another is inspired by a Thomas Pynchon novel. Inherent Vice is an adaptation of a Thomas Pynchon novel. There Will Be Blood is inspired by Oil by Upton Sinclair. Like he has inspirations from novels quite a bit in his work, but
Hmm.
the originality, the strong, like you can feel watching his movies, the intentionality of the choices that he makes and the effect that has on you as a viewer. And I think the thing that made me turn around on him was 2019, Phantom Thread comes out. Or was it 2018?
2017, I think.
2017 maybe? You're right, it is 2017.
Yeah.
2017, Phantom Thread comes out. Blows my mind. Nobody else that I know likes it. I'm the only one that watched this movie and enjoyed it. This is before I go to college and I meet all the film people who love Phantom Thread. I'm the only person I know that loves it. I think it is incredible. I think it's like one of my favorite Daniel Day-Lewis performances. I think I always called it like very intentional and careful like vampire story, the way that they feed on each other as like a
Hmm.
toxic relationship. I think the writing is so beautiful. I think the way that he develops the characters is so beautiful. And I think it's the combination of, in all of his movies, creating characters that I love and that I root for that are so idiosyncratic and interesting, as well as plots that are not seen anywhere else, that are interesting to watch. And you go to see one of his movies, you are seeing something new every time. And that is so rare and so hard to find and so impressive considering that a lot of his work is completely original. And so, for me personally, I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I love him more and more the more of his things that I watch. I just watched Inherent Vice for the first time for this show. So the more things I watch of him, the more I respect him and idolize him and worship him as a filmmaker and think that he's just absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad that we're talking about these three movies because you and I could sit down and, dick ride Boogie Nights for an hour and a half, or we could sit down and like jizz over There Will Be Blood and The Master, as
Right.
much as we want. But these are the movies that are, at least Magnolia is a little bit contentious. There's been a lot of, back and forth as to whether it's great or not. Punch Drunk Love is one that people don't see that much, as well as Inherent Vice. Like they're not talked about as much compared to his other movies. So I'm glad we're
Hmm.
talking about these three. I think this will be a more interesting and nuanced conversation than it would be if we had other choices, which we will come back to Paul Thomas Anderson and we will talk about those more famous and more universally beloved films. And I very, very much look forward to a Phantom Thread conversation because it is like there are three movies on my top 50 or whatever list that are Paul Thomas Anderson movies. Is Magnolia, Boogie Nights, and Phantom Thread because I love them. And
Right.
low key, Punch Drunk Love might end up on there soon. I also love Punch Drunk Love, but we'll get there.
Oh, so yeah, we'll talk
What
about
is
that.
what is your
Um,
interaction with Paul Thomas Anderson?
so he's one that, because we've talked about, there's some like filmmakers that I just hadn't seen a lot of their filmography, and so we like decided to do a director's analysis. PTA is not one of them. Like I've seen a majority of his work. He doesn't have an
Mm.
extensive filmography because One Battle After Another, I think, is his 10th film.
Yeah,
But
Tarantino's shaking.
yeah, um, but I have seen like the majority of his stuff, like Punch Drunk Love and Inherent Vice. Until this episode, I had not seen, and then The only one left is Phantom Thread. I guess technically Heart 8, but that's sort of like
You
the
haven't seen Phantom
forgotten
Thread?
child. But I haven't seen Phantom Thread, no. So
Oh,
we talked about that'll be one that we certainly say for the
that's
follow up
so
director
exciting.
analysis. But I'm very curious about it because one thing that I really appreciate and love about PTA getting to see more of these films is the like evolution that he has. Not that he didn't start great because he started incredible, but just the shift in his approach as a director. Because we'll talk about it
Yes.
with Magnolia in particular and Punch Drunk Love, but his earlier work, this man was so flashy with his style. Again,
Yeah, he
you say on the
was.
show like your
Holy shit, he
stylism.
was.
You love stylism. This guy goes for it. Like the ambition and the
This
prowess
is
in the
why I love
filmmaking,
him. Yes.
incredible. And he was like a young guy. Like he was in his mid 20s, late-ish 20s
Yeah.
when he was
I think he
doing
was 25 or 6,
Boogie
26 when he did
Nights
Boogie Nights. Yeah.
and Magnolia. And so he's like new kid on the block. He's got something to prove. He's paying homage to Scorsese and all these other film idols that he has. And then he like gets to a certain point. And I would be curious when we visit There Will Be Blood to see like if that is the demarcation point where he
Mhm.
shifts. Because you can see with The Master, with
Mhm.
Inherent Vice, I will talk about. And then I'm curious about Phantom Thread. I haven't seen it, but I imagine it'll be more um, restrained and like
Mhm.
crazy stylism and more concentrated on the themes that he's always been working with, which are these very damaged people that are trying to
Yeah.
find connection in some way. And that plays out more on like just the character and them interacting and the performance rather than, all the maximalist camera movements or, you know,
I would
12
argue,
character long like musical sequences.
yeah.
So I'd be very curious to see how that plays out in all those films. But yeah, there's definitely, I feel like, a shift in how intense he goes on the filmmaking. And then as far as him as a writer director, which you pointed out, the idiosyncratic characters that you mentioned, I think is so on point. Like he has just
Oh, yeah.
these incredibly distinct, like one of a kind type characters. They're not always the most lovable people, but they're always captivating. They're always so interesting. And again, he's got great performances, like great actors to give them life in the performances. And so that's another element to his filmmaking that is just so distinct and makes him so incredible and makes you want to watch all of his films because they're so unique. Like the character writing in particular is one that I appreciated very heavily on things like The Master, and then the works that we'll talk about in this particular director analysis. And then obviously, Daniel
Mhm.
Day Lewis and There Will Be Blood is what like the most iconic performance or the one that people will talk about the most of his filmography. So yeah, it is something just spectacular to watch. It's something that has
Yeah.
such ambition, such intentionality, and is able to execute on them pretty like flawlessly, like just an amazing talent in that regard. But that he changes his approach like over the course of his career. Like he's not just doing the same thing over and over and iterating on it and getting better and better, which on its own would be an incredible feat to watch. But he's like tackling these things through different approaches in different movies, through different characters, all of which are still unique and compelling. Um, but it's like different. Like he's able to shift his style in a way. So that part
Mhm.
I'm very intrigued by. He's a very dynamic filmmaker, both in the films he makes and then just over the arc of his career, which is amazing. And he's still got a long way to go. Like if Scorsese is still making movies in his 80s, PTA we got another 30 years with him to
Yeah.
continue to change and evolve and like tackle these things in new ways.
Which
That's
is
very
such an
exciting.
exciting thing to think about.
Yeah.
Every time he makes a movie, I'm more convinced that he is the best living filmmaker. He's just so flawless. And I want to make the argument very briefly that I think you said that his earlier works are just like really flashy and stylized. I agree that they're very stylized. He's throwing the camera around a lot. He's editing quickly paced. He has
Hmm.
these flashy colors and stuff. But I think his later works, I think they get flashier as he gets older. The indulgence in the sets and like the set pieces he's using gets so out of hand, especially starting with There Will Be Blood. The whole oil derrick
Oh yeah.
is insane. It is crazy what he's leaning into. A lot of the sets in the Master are absolutely crazy. Phantom Thread, you'll see. I think Phantom Thread might be his most restrained, but there is still like a great indulgence, especially in the costume design in that film. of
Hmm.
just leaning into these beautiful. Just it's just shot so well. The lenses that they use, the choice in the lenses. I've watched like hours of the screen tests that they've done of just PTA doing like a voiceover talking about the different lenses they have that they're using, the old vintage lenses on this film camera, in the screen test they're doing to get the fabric right and to get the lighting right. And one battle after another, the definition of flashy and then definition of indulgence in film. Like given an unrestrained check to do whatever he wants, has taken it and run with it and has made an incredibly indulgent film.
100%. Yeah, we'll talk about one battle after another and how it might be, a marriage of those two threads in his career. But yeah, I would certainly say the indulgence would still be there, but it may be,
Mhm.
as you said, like in set design or in costume design.
Yeah.
So
I
in
think the
these
difference is
elements,
in his earlier works that we're going to talk about, Magnolia and Punch Drunk Love, and then Boogie Nights, of course. I think there's like a flashiness in the writing style. You know, he's like not restraining himself, and he's willing to cut around all the time. He doesn't care about sitting with the characters as much as maybe his later works, and he is like flashing these crazy characters that have like strong catchphrases and like big moments and a lot of like moving pieces. I think his like scripts in this era are super flashy and stylized. I think he's trying to like own being a writer director and lean into the writing a lot harder than maybe other writer directors have, and really like kind of own that whole landscape of being a writer as well as being a director, as opposed to like maybe Martin Scorsese's flashiness, which I mean, he has great scripts that other people have written for him that he's contributed to, but he's really leaning into these like heavy, needle drops and these very stylized camera movements that Paul Thomas Anderson kind of leads into. But for him, it's all about the characters, man. He just loves these crazy, unique characters that come out of just his brain from nowhere, and watching them interact with each other and like letting the story unfold that way. And personally, that is how I love to write a story and to come across it, is to create great characters, put them in a scenario, and then watch it unfold.
yeah, I think that is literally like a PTA mantra. Like it's how
Yeah,
he approaches his writing, and so that makes sense. And I think again, like his earlier work versus later work, he's more comfortable just letting that play out. In the earlier work, you
absolutely.
see again, it's the crazy energy that all the camera movements, the dynamic editing, all that
There's
stuff
definitely a little plot
provides
heavier.
to
Yeah.
it. But in the later movies, he's much more comfortable just like in the master conversation, when
Hmm.
the processing is going on, like we're just sitting in the room and he's just cutting back and forth between these two characters. It's like a 10, 50-minute scene or something like that.
Yeah.
And we're just with them, like the two performers doing their thing. And he's comfortable just letting that play out. So I think to your point of like the indulgence in set design and production design and all that stuff, costume design, he
Cinematography.
leans into it, but it's all in the interest of creating a more well-defined world for those characters to inhabit as they
Yes.
just play out, whatever drama is
Absolutely.
unfolding between them, which is an interesting turn because again, it's very effective. But yeah, it's just a slight subtle shift. Like the flashiness is more subdued and more in the interest of just letting the characters have a grounded play space, basically.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's dive into Magnolia, 1999. So his follow up to Boogie Nights. Literally, he got a blank check where they're
Hmm.
like, "You did incredible, great job, do whatever you want," and then
Yes.
Magnolia was the result. So you already mentioned here that this is in your top 50, and that's your favorite PTA film. So go ahead
It's a
and
masterpiece.
chat about that. Yeah, I called it flawed masterpiece. You took some issues with that.
Yes.
So
No flaws. Not a single flaw in it. I want to hear what your flaws are. Tell me.
we'll chat about it. We'll get into it deeply. But
It is a masterpiece. I wasn't able to catch it for this specific discussion, but I watched it earlier this year. Uh it is without a doubt one of the greatest films ever told, especially one of the greatest like original stories ever told on film. It
mhm.
is so genius the way he is weaving these characters together. It is genius the way he has these themes of past and present, of child sort of not abuse but
Yeah, just
uh
trauma.
trauma, yeah, childhood trauma, and the themes of regret as an adult, of letting that happen, and the just the past. We maybe through the past, but the past ain't through with you. All of that is just so good. And I think, of course, the stylism I think works fantastically. I think the characters are so, every single one of them is so unique. Every single one of them is being performed incredibly. I'm a huge fan of very crazy, bombastic editing in my youth right now. Maybe that'll change as I get older, but I really love a really good, strong edit, which is why I've been so passionate against oneers. You know me. I love a
Yep.
good, strong, fancy edit. I love a good, noticeable camera movement
But
that
I will
is not.
say, part of the maximalism, I mean, in paying homage to his heroes and all that, Boogie Nights, of course, has a big wonder, and Magnolia has quite a few. There's definitely one when the kid is like walking through
Yeah.
the game show, like the backstage stuff. There's a big,
Mhm.
we start in one story, go to the second story, then we come back down.
Yeah.
So he utilizes the wonder a lot. Again, it's all just in the interest
For
of
sure.
like
Yeah.
dynamic visuals. So we get all
My
those
favorite
crazy
oneer
edits,
though is when
parallel action, mash cuts. It's great.
is it Claudia? Is Claudia the daughter?
Yeah, that gets
When John C.
abused.
Riley's banging on the door and she has the music playing and she's running around hiding all her drugs, that's my
Yeah.
favorite oneer. It's just so chaotic, and the Amy Mann soundtrack is blasting, which fantastic soundtrack,
Yeah, it
incredible.
is amazing. Truly,
He
I
just
appreciated that a lot more on this rewatch because I watched it once before, uh,
yeah,
quite a few years ago. It had to be certainly pre-pandemic, but I had known
initial
famously it
thoughts,
was one of your favorite films of all time, and
and
so
one
I'm
of my
like,
favorite original soundtracks for a movie.
yeah, for sure.
I listen to the soundtrack all the time, just in my car.
It is beautiful. And so I had watched the movie and I really liked it. Again, like I think I need to see if I have it written down somewhere. Maybe it was back when I was doing Rotten Tomatoes instead of Letterboxd. Who knows? But I need to see if I have some of my thoughts somewhere. But I really liked it. There's a couple hang-ups that I had on it, which we'll get to. But
Hmm.
one of the things that I was not, I guess, just dialed into at all at that point was like soundtracks and
Hmm.
just the additive power of a
Yeah,
strong soundtrack, and
I'm a
especially
big
one that
soundtrack guy.
like this one is one singular artist with previous works, and I think she wrote new works for
Yeah.
the film. So like that through line made it work even that much better.
Hmm.
So I was appreciating a lot of that. I also just think there's one moment, of course, where all the characters start singing along to a song, an Amy Mann
Oh my
song,
god, it's amazing.
um, which was fantastic. I don't remember that happening um,
Yeah.
the first time around, so I can't remember what my thoughts were.
It's
But this time
because
around, seeing it, I was like, "This is such a like
yeah,
out there wild choice," and I'm
getting
like, "I
into
love it. It's so
getting
amazing."
into spoilers, had the frogs not happened in the movie, that would be the bizarre thing in the movie and people would
That
talk about
everyone
it.
would talk
But
about, but yeah, the frogs was
because the
obviously the one I
frogs
remember.
happen, everybody forgets that for like a good 2 minutes, all the characters break into song
It's
for no
not
reason.
going
Going
to
to
stop.
stop. Dude, it's so good. And it's like, it's just emotional. It's emotional to watch these characters have this moment where they relate to one another without even knowing each other really, not even like
Yeah,
closely know each other. They have this very similar human condition relation where it just makes sense that they're all singing together in the same way, you know?
yeah,
Because they're all just living life. They're all just living. It's a movie about life. Roger Ebert has a great clip of this where he's like arguing against somebody who's saying that the movie's bad and weird and that they don't get the frogs, and he's saying you just don't get it. It's a movie about life. It's a movie about living and the problems of living and the shared trauma and pain of living, and that nobody has it easy. Everybody's living for the first time and everybody's making mistakes, and everybody feels so similar about so many things. Everybody has insecurities. Everybody has problems. Everybody, does something stupid where they get braces to charm a guy. Everybody, you know, everybody wants to impress their parents. Everybody wants to be the perfect child, but sometimes can't and fails and has pressure put on them. It's just so real and so vivid and so full of just beautiful, beautiful life. And it is also just so awesome nonstop for 3 straight fucking hours. It is 3 hours long and it is nonstop. Great characters, great dialogue, great camera work, great editing, great scenes, beautifully shot, great soundtrack. It is just, I just can't get better than this. Everything that Tom Cruise is in, every shot that he's in, is so dynamic and electric. His entire
Frank
character,
PJ Mackey. Yeah, his
yes,
greatest performance
by far.
for sure. I mean, Born the Fourth of July is also incredible. I think there could be a contention
This is
there,
the
but
role of a lifetime.
this one is insane that he didn't win the Oscar for.
This
And
role is even more relevant today than it was then. Like
That's what's also crazy. Like watching
it
it, I
hits
was
so
like,
hard.
this is wild. Like the
There are so
whole
many like manfluencers now.
manosphere stuff, the
Yeah.
red pill, whatever. Like it's
Yes.
all. I guess the names just changed, but like back then, the whole because this wasn't even the game or whatever it was, the seduce and destroy that he called it
Hmm.
in the movie, and like this is insane, like insanely
It's also
prescient.
just
So
the whole movie, start to finish, is ridiculously funny. But it's only funny if you get it and you're in on the joke. You know, I could
yeah,
see somebody watching it and just not getting it and not liking it, and because they don't like it, it's just not funny to them. But to me, it is abundantly funny. I think the entire opening sequence of like the coincidences when they get to the one where the kid jumps off the building and then his parents shoot him and then they have to debate whether or not it's a homicide or not. And then they
yeah,
declare that it is a homicide because the net would have saved him if he had landed, but because he was shot on his way down, even though it was a suicide attempt, it's technically a murder. That whole thing is fantastic. The way that he
100%.
describes it, I mean, it is such a strong way to start a movie.
It's
And
entertaining, it's
dude,
funny, and
and
then
it
it
leads
makes
into
the
and it's,
thematic point. Yeah,
you
it
know
brings
me,
it all up.
this movie does a lot of things that I don't typically like. I don't like narration that much. It has great narration in the opening. I don't like wonders that much. It has really great wonders. And it's just one of those things where I will have certain tastes about what I like in a movie and what I don't like. And it will have no effect on whether or not I like the movie or not if it's done well. You know, it's about intention. It's about making choices that make sense. It's about using it for a reason. And Paul Thomas Anderson never does anything without a reason. There's always a reason to do something, and it works so well every time. Just being intentional with your choices, even if the intention is just I think this will be cool and I like it. Like the characters just singing. Like there's some plot reasons to it, but I think it's just cool. I think the crazy plot choice to have it rain frogs as like a biblical reference to unite these characters together in like a general like bewildered moment for these characters to have some kind of connection. It's such a strong way to end the movie because it's so bizarre. You've never seen it before. It is biblical. The whole movie is biblical.
Yeah,
It's larger than life in the sense that the Bible is larger than life. How could you not love this movie? How could you not think that it's perfect?
yeah. I will
What
say
are the
going to
flaws?
the
What are the
frogs.
flaws?
In the first part, first time that I had watched it, I was like, "What are we doing with the frogs? Like, come on now!" Like that's when it
It's
sort of jumped the
crazy.
shark. It went insane for me. I was like, "We didn't need this." Like, you already had the
No.
connection just of the struggles they were going through, and all the like more like literal connections that they have because they all, they're 1 degree removed from each other, every single one of them. So that I think suffices as far as like, oh, the coincidence thing, like showing that this group of characters are in fact connected and they're all going through this certain thing on this one certain day. So I'm like, do we need the frogs?
Yes, that is
Bro,
the
watching,
coincidence. The
hold on,
coincidence
Dylan,
is the
wait, Dylan,
frogs.
pause, pause, pause.
All right, all right.
I
I'll
said that
wait.
was the
I'll
first
wait.
time I watched it. That was my thought
Okay,
process. This
okay,
is the second time I watched it. My thought process is
okay.
the frogs rock, dude.
Yes,
They're amazing.
yes. They're so good. Yes.
I'm like, this
Oh my god.
is
I'm so glad you see
fantastic.
it now.
Because again, it's
It's
the as you said. I mean, yeah, it's a way of connecting them. There's a biblical reference to I think it's Exodus something where there's a talk about the frogs and whatnot. Even aside from that, just from the filmmaking standpoint of having the sequence of the frogs raining down, is so wonderfully executed. Because again, it comes out of nowhere. I mean, they have the whole stuff about the weather, but out of nowhere, frogs coming down. It does have some plot relevance because John C. Riley goes and saves the Whiz Kid, Quiz Kid.
Donnie
Um,
Smith.
yeah, so
I love William H. Macy in this movie. Second favorite performer in the movie behind Tom Cruise. His
um,
whole character line of just getting braces just because he wants to impress the bartender is so funny.
it's a funny little bit.
His
But
introduction where he drives into the he drives into the gas station is hilarious. Hey, and then the guy runs up and goes, "Hey, are you Quiz Kid Donnie Smith?" It's like a hey, isn't that the horse from horsing around bit? It's so funny.
yeah,
It is
so
hilarious.
all of that, and then just the visuals that we were able to get from that, the shot of the kid in the library with the silhouettes of the frogs coming down,
Mhm.
the shot of like in the pool outside of
The ambulance
the
driving
one
through
guy's
the
house.
frogs and flipping,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
awesome.
So all of that was just spectacularly rendered. So I'm down with the frogs. I enjoy it for sure. And as you said, I think a lot of the story threads are incredible. I think the overall
Yeah.
theme of it comes through really nicely. There's, John C. Riley at the end is like narrating it out and basically saying all this, but I think it's like nice. It's sentimental to hear that come directly from him and speak to now that like all this has
Yeah.
wrapped up and they're all
He's
like
also a
now about to
great
move on
character.
with life. They're dealing with, okay, you may be through with the past, but passing through with you. Now they've all had to confront it in one way or another, and now they have to continue on. And how are they going to
Yeah.
make that choice? What are they going to do now? Are they going to forgive? Are they going to just continue on? Like, what is going to be their approach? And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. And that final scene in particular, where we see
Hmm.
Claudia is there on the
With her
bed. John C.
mom.
Riley comes into the room and is trying to like talk with her. You hear the Amy Mann song is already playing. Like the song that's about to take us in the credits is already playing.
Hmm.
You can hear a little more subtly John C. Riley talking to her and saying like, you like he doesn't particularly know yet, but he's knows that she's like damaged, like she's been
Hmm.
going through a lot, and he's trying to just be there for her and be like, you can make it through. Like, please don't close yourself off. Like, you can get through this. And then she looks up at the camera and smiles, and then boom, we go to the credits. And I'm just like, it's so
Dude.
beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful
I haven't
message.
seen the movie in months, but you recounting the final scene where she looks at the camera is giving me chills right now. Like I got
Yeah.
chills. It's so good. I just love the whole theme of the movie is they say it so many times. You may be through the past, but the past ain't through with you. And then the ultimate lesson at the end is, but that's okay.
Hmm.
And that's okay. The past isn't through with you, and that's okay. You'll get through it. It's such a positive outlook. They're just such real human characters, but they're also funny and they're unique, but they're real. They
Hmm.
have real emotions. Bro, Tom Cruise crying over his father is
Yeah.
brutal. That is brutal.
It's sensational. It's incredible. Pitch perfect. And then even so I'll get to two things about that particular thing. But one that is like astonishing is you can see in the background of like the wide shot when he's kneeling down at the bed, Tom Cruise is crying, like that's where the focus is. Literally the focus is there. Out of focus in the background, you can see Philip Seymour Hoffman
The
crying.
goat.
The goat, of course, and he's crying. And then they do a cut, like a single to Hoffman, so you see his character's reaction. But even just having that of like again to your credit, of like these are real people and they're going through these things. Seeing someone else be so affected by watching, the son and father reunited. He's obviously heard the whole story of how he let Frank's mom be abandoned basically, and Frank had to be the one to take care of her. And he
Mhm.
has all this regret, and he's like on the verge of death and can't even remember everything anymore. And so he's like seeing this reconciliation play out, but it's just like slightly too late. And obviously, there's too much pain and damage to just get healed from instantly from that moment. But still, it's like a very cathartic release,
Yeah.
and he's being affected by it, and it's like beautiful
Yeah.
to see that play out. Um,
Mhm.
I will say that talking about like the
Yeah.
flawed masterpiece of it all.
Uh-huh.
So I think that the editing throughout this film is astonishing. It's incredible, particularly the cross cutting, where he's able to build to these like mini
Yeah.
climaxes. Like the whole opening introductions to all the characters is all like seamless, very energetic. And then as we're an hour in getting into the game show, when it's like about to start, we do the same thing. We
Mhm.
like revisit all the characters. There's a little later when John C. Reilly loses his gun. There's another moment of just like all the tension that's playing out. I think
Mhm.
it's
It's
when
stressful.
Hank's on the phone as well. Like that part's very good. Like they're all in that crisis moment. So it's beautiful the
Yeah.
way that he's able to interweave a lot of those storylines.
Yeah.
I will say, I had some questions about certain timings of certain cuts because we cut away from that Tom Cruise moment. This is some other stuff for like 10 minutes. We come back and then he's just like bawling, and then we're supposed to be like right back into this moment. I'm like, again, Tom Cruise is giving his best performance ever, and we cut away midway through and then cut back like when it's at the climax. Again, it's one of those things where like, okay, we had eased up with him when he comes into the room and sees the father, and then he
That's
starts
the bold
breaking down.
nature of it. It's very bold choices
Again, I agree.
in
I think it's bold and it's compelling. It's just you're going to be hit or miss with some of
yeah.
those. I would have preferred we
It's
just
the
stuck with
decisions he's
him play that out.
making. He's making a lot of decisions in the writing of deciding which pieces will go where, and also in the edit of choosing when to cut away from things. I'm sure he like had to make some last minute choices in the edit of wanting to change where things go, and I think there's a lot of intention in the decision for every single time you cut to a different scene to pick up where you left off with a different character. And it's not easy to do an ensemble piece like this where everything is happening in real time with 6 different storylines happening at the same time and cutting between them. And I think he's making very important and intentional choices to get you to relate to the characters as a whole on a larger scale than just each one individually. That you can relate to them as people who are in a unique circumstance, that they're each in their own unique circumstance that is creating feelings in them that they're all sharing at the same time. They're all feeling grief, they're all feeling loss, they're all feeling trauma, they're all feeling all of these things being dredged up from their past all at once, facing them and hurting them because they have to confront it. And I think there is an intentional choice to cut between them so that you can combine the feelings you have for Tom Cruise with whoever they're cutting to whoever they cut to after that, cutting back to Tom Cruise. So you can recognize that these feelings are universal between these characters and not just unique to one or the other.
Right, and I think that can be conveyed without cutting in the middle of Tom Cruise crying desperately on
I
the
disagree.
bedside of his dying father. I think we would have gotten that had we just let that scene play out and then cut into the next scene, which is dealing with whatever similar moment of someone having a reckoning with their parents or
I think there's also the problem
desire for love. Because again, the general message that you were just saying there, it comes through. I just don't think in that particular moment, because we're at the emotional climax of Tom Cruise's story. We were not at the emotional climax of whatever we had cut away to, and then we had cut to something else separately, and then came back to Tom Cruise
yeah. But I
crying there.
think I think the point here is also this is a 3 hour movie. And I think he wants you to be invested in every storyline equally all the time, nonstop, which
And
is
that's the
hard to
other
do.
flaw that we got to talk about, which is with any ensemble piece, you run the risk of certain storylines are going to be more compelling than others. And I
Sure.
think that's the case here. Again, we
No, I
like
disagree.
almost universally, everyone agrees like the Tom Cruise stuff is without a doubt incredible and flawless and always the most like
Yeah.
engaging stuff.
Agreed.
You think every single one of these is on the same level as Tom Cruise? The answer is no.
Yes.
You know it's not true.
Yes.
You
Yes,
don't
it is.
believe that. Come on now.
Which one is worse? Which one's the worst?
Julianne Moore.
Okay. I can understand that. I can understand why you would think that. I disagree. I love the scene where she's in the pharmacy and she's yelling about them judging her and being angry, and then she says, "Suck my dick." I love that scene.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
love the scene where she's in the lawyer office and she's begging for him to change the will so that she doesn't get anything because she doesn't deserve it. She fucked around and she cheated on him. She hates him, and now the burden is that she has to confront and face that past, knowing that now she actually loves him and doesn't and like feels such remorse and guilt for her actions that she's like suicidal, like horribly suicidal, is taking so many drugs, is completely unhinged. I love her storyline. I completely disagree with you.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for me. Doesn't click. I think it's a performance issue as well. I
No, she's
Again, there's
fantastic.
just some things, and it's like, do you buy it? Do you not? I buy Claudia as drug
She's
addled,
incredible.
very pained. She was fantastic. Julianne Moore, I just don't buy it. Like I
No,
don't
she's
buy
great.
that she's this
You
character. I
need to
don't buy that she's lived through
wait a
this. I don't
couple
buy that
years and
she
watch
feels
it
these
again.
feelings. I
Wait a couple
Okay,
years and watch it again. She's
okay.
incredible.
We will see. My inclination is I don't think it'll change very much.
I think it will.
I think it was also very just one note. Like each of her scenes were the same pretty much, and so that part I didn't like. This one will hurt you, and I apologize. I
What,
don't think that Quizkid Donnie Smith's storyline
dude?
was the most
You're
compelling. I think it
insane.
had elements of
You're
things that could
insane.
have blossomed
The
into
battle of
something
wits he
that
goes
makes
against with the other guy, where they're both flirting on the bartender, bro.
that part is compelling. I do like that, and again, the whole thing of the braces, like why he's doing that, is compelling. The Alfred Molina part, I think, is compelling. I just don't think it materializes into anything all that outstanding. And then this is with the other thing of like certain plot threads, are reaching their climax, and others are sort of just on pause, either for the character's already been taken out of commission, like Julianne Moore when she takes the pills and then she's just gone, and then she wakes up. There's a ambulance part, but then she just wakes up at the end. There's the stuff with the kid, the game show kid, which
Hmm.
is all superbly done. But then he's just in the library for like the remainder of the film, and he's again the frogs that are coming down. It's like cool, but at that point he's just gone until he comes into his father's room and it's like, you need to be nice to me. And he's like,
Yeah,
okay.
and then it goes, go to bed, go to your room,
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
your room, go to your room.
So
I love that. I love that ending for his
that
character.
particular scene, yeah, I
Like he
think is
tries to
great.
stand up for himself, and it doesn't work. I love it.
Um, so I think that's compelling. I just wish, like, okay, we had carried that character through until a certain point, and then
Well, he's
he just
running a
sort of
good
was in the
chunk of that
background.
middle section.
Hmm?
His scenes are like running a good chunk of that middle section because they're combined with Philip Baker Hall's scenes.
Yeah, Mr. Jimmy Gator. Yeah, I mean he's
Yep,
present there for sure, but he just sort of gets lost towards the end. And again, that's the difficulty of juggling an ensemble, and
I think it works.
it's yeah. I just think there's some that are flawlessly executed. Again, the Tom Cruise part is one of them. I really like the John C. Riley, Claudia stuff. Um, and then that's crazy. His Officer Jim, and
What
then
is the
his
line she
I think
says?
dad's name is
She
Jimmy
says,
Gator. That's rough.
what is her line? It's now that we've met, would you object to never seeing me again? Is that what she says to John C.
Yes,
Riley? I love
Jimmy.
that line.
I think it's a Amy Mann lyric.
It is an Amy Mann
Yep.
lyric. She quotes it, and it's so good. Now that we've met, would you object to never seeing me again?
There you go. Yeah, I really like
Dude,
that moment. Again,
beautiful.
there's just some that hit really hard, and others that don't hit quite as much. Um,
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
yeah, that's one that definitely very entertaining to watch Tom Cruise do that. Dude, the interview, he's sitting down with the interview, but his shirt is off, his pants are off,
Yeah.
for
He's like
inexplicable
doing like
reasons. And he does a
push ups
freaking
and shit.
gymnastic like
Yeah.
rollback.
He's just got so much energy, and she's like, "Sit down, sit down." He gets like into it, like it's like a sexual game, and then she
Yeah.
does like gotcha journalism for the next 45 minutes.
Then he's upset. I'm quietly judging you. He just waits out the clock. He doesn't say anything else for the interview. He just sits there and says nothing. So again, that's it's part of the ambition. He's like, I want to have all these different characters and juggle all these different storylines. And again, at some points, it like works insanely well. Like it's unbelievable how perfectly he's able to uh, interweave these storylines and build to that momentum, or build the momentum up through them. But I don't know, just some of them are weaker than others, and so it drags the whole thing down just a little bit. So if it were 12 different subplots, all of which were equally as strong as the Tom Cruise TJ Mackey thing, I'd be
Mhm.
right there with you. But I think for me personally, there's just some like a Julianne Moore one that I'm like, it's just not on the same level, and that's a shame.
Nah, strongly disagree. How many raining frogs out of 5 would you give Magnolia?
I'm
There is
giving
a
it
right answer.
4.5 out of 5.
You know what? I'm gonna take that. I think that's a win. I told myself in my head, I said if Ryan says anything less than 4, I'm gonna shoot him in the face. And so
That's
I think a
crazy.
4.5 is a win. I think that's
Nice.
strong enough. I'll take it. If you die thinking that this is a 4.5 movie, that is a life well lived. Me
Hey,
personally, the highest 5 out of 5 I could give. It's incredible. It is his masterpiece. It is incredible. It's flawless. I will watch this movie probably every other year at least for the rest of my life.
wow.
It is the best 3 hours I could imagine for watching a movie. You know, I can't imagine. I don't know. I don't think there's any other movie that's more than 3 hours that I like as much, except
Wolf of Wall
maybe
Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, he's perhaps the only one
That's what
because
I'm
that
talking
movie's
about.
magnificent.
It sure is.
Leonardo
All right.
DiCaprio's best performance.
Insane that he didn't get the Oscar for that. And I know it's my
Yeah,
boy McConaughey that did
dude,
take the Oscar,
no,
but I'm like, bro,
that's
come on.
fucking criminal, bro.
Leo, like that
That's his
is
best
his seminal
performance.
performance, without a doubt. I pulled up your list. Magnolia is number 12 on your top 50 list.
I
There you
believe
go.
that.
High
High
praise.
up there, very high praise.
All right. Now let's talk about Punch Drunk Love 2002.
These
So,
are
how many times have you seen this mofo in the past?
3 times, I believe, and I didn't watch it. The first time watching it was a little after I watched Magnolia for the first time. I watched Magnolia in 2019. I watched Punk Drunk Love probably sometime in 2020, and then I watched it again a couple years after that, and watched it again a few months ago. if I recall.
There you go. All right,
Is
this
this
was
your
my
first time watching it?
first time watching it. Yeah, indeed.
Love it. I fucking love this movie. This is a movie where he is taking, he's making very deliberate choices because he just likes it. Because he just likes doing certain things for fun, and it makes for a very entertaining watch. The whole subplot of the sex line and the sex line workers harassing him for money
Yeah.
is just fun. Like it's just for fun, and it's so good. It's just to push Adam Sandler farther and farther and farther. This is a great. This is my favorite movie about anger issues and about like being put in a world where everything is frustrating you and you don't know why. You know, he
Mhm.
is like a very empathetic character, and Adam Sandler is incredible in this movie, in my opinion. He should have won the Golden Globe, and I think maybe even gotten an Oscar nomination because I think he's so phenomenal in this film. I love every scene that he's in. I love the charisma that he has. I love the awkwardness that he has, like the anti charisma almost in a lot of his scenes. And I
Yeah.
love like the switch up from like this lovable buffoon kind of character who's very quiet and shy to very intense and pointed rage, like very pointed, very specific rage at certain things. And the things that set him off are just so funny. It is a great comedy, and it is immensely romantic to me, even though I think to other people they would disagree. I think this movie is like intensely romantic.
All right.
It's
There you
called
go.
like Punch Drunk Love is such a great title for this film.
It is a nice title. I like it.
What are your initial
So,
impressions?
as far as again the filmmaking intensity, this man just does not stop. He goes all in all the time. Like he
Yeah.
is at the max that you could
Yes.
be. And it's a marvel
There
to
is
see.
tension nonstop throughout this movie.
hundred
Almost.
percent.
Just about.
Again, Adam Sandler famously had that dramatic turn in Uncut Gems. This was the prototype. This was straight
Yes.
up the prototype. That whole scene of like everything going on, his workplace literally like crumbling, people are crashing left and right. He's got
And
the
he's just
call
trying to like flirt
from
with the girl. He's
getting
like, "No, don't worry about it." I love when the forklift runs into the wall. And she's like, "Oh my god, should you check that?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah." And he knocks on the door, goes, "Hey, okay," and then just walks away immediately because he doesn't care.
yeah.
It's so good.
So he's got that to deal with. He's got the phone calls coming in from the hotline that now is trying to extort him for all his money and whatnot.
Yeah,
So yeah, all that going on, so
it's
stressful,
great.
very intense.
What did you think about the
Um,
opening with the piano in the car?
I was intrigued for sure. It locked me in. I was confused and ready to figure out what the heck was going on with this thing, which ultimately served more of a metaphorical purpose than us figuring out why
I think
that
it's
random
intentionally there just to set
harmonium,
a tone.
whatever it's called, not a piano,
Yeah,
but whatever that
yeah.
instrument is.
It's a tone
Um,
setter for sure.
Indeed, which I liked. Again, it's very like it roots you into this very weird and idiosyncratic world
Yeah,
of this dude in this blue suit, which he wears throughout the whole movie. I was also not expecting
I
that
love it.
because I knew
I
the iconic
love when he goes.
image, but
My
he's
favorite thing
just
is that
blue
he's
suited
wearing the
up.
suit, and then his sister comes in and goes, "Why are you wearing a suit? Why are you like?" Luis Guzman says it first, and he goes, "I just thought about getting dressed up." And then she sees him and goes, "Why are you wearing a suit? This is weird. He never does this." And the next day when he goes to work, Luis Guzman is also wearing a suit.
It's pretty good. It's like in The Bear when Richie starts wearing the suit and he just never went back. He just kept wearing the suit the whole time.
Yeah,
Um, so like you see that, and then his like playing out that social anxiety thing. Like he likes being out in the sun with his coffee mug and just like observing what's going on. But then anytime something might disturb that or interrupt that, or there's a person that he has to like deal with, he retreats. Like I thought
yeah.
that was very well done to just establish character.
He
And
likes to
again,
be
like
the boss without doing boss activities.
exactly. So all those little elements to him, I thought were great. I appreciated them a lot. So again, the like writer side of PTA, the writer director portion is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then going
I
into
love
some
when
of
he's
those,
trying to sell the Fungers and his sisters keep calling. It's a long oneer, and his sisters just keep calling him to see if he's coming to the party. And he
yeah,
comes back and says, "We've just made some unbreakable Fungers," and he slams it and it shatters. And he goes, "I'm sorry, that must have been one of the old models."
it's
Dude,
very
the
good.
comedy is unreal in this movie. It's so funny.
So all that stuff worked great. And then on the director side of his, the writer director component, I love some of the changes that he made here because again, all the camera movements, we still get a lot of those. A lot of the wonders, we still get a lot of those.
Crazy
But now
lens
he's
flare.
incorporating some new tools. The lens flare
So
throughout
sick.
the film looked incredible, and used a very beautiful effect in that car scene when it's like these close-ups on the two of them that just looked lovely. And again, to your point
Mhm.
of like, oh, the romance feeling in the film, I think that was very well rendered there, in those like lens flares and in those little, interstitial moments where it's those like Technicolor bars that blend together. I
I
think that's
love
very
that.
beautiful. Um, and then there's a shot of him like running away where you first see the silhouette, like the shadow on the wall, and then he comes into the frame passing the shadow. I thought that was beautiful. And then the compositions he has, I felt like very much leveled up.
Hmm.
The embrace they have in Hawaii, like the silhouette of
Oh
them,
my god, it's
that
one of my
little
favorite
sliver,
shots in any movie ever. Is that embrace?
that's gorgeous. And then all the like people just walking by,
Yes,
the
yes.
silhouettes of them walking by. It was
Such a
stunning. It was
smart choice.
truly beautiful. So I appreciate a lot of that stuff. And again, the color work, obviously, he's blue. She's always wearing red. Um, so just using that, element there, having the contrast. And then he would always have, there's a lot of like iris pools in this. There's always right outside his work station or the garage, wherever it is, his warehouse. It's almost always overexposed, that like entrance and exit. And so a lot of
Hmm.
times we'll see
Yeah.
either him coming from that or she comes through that a few times as well. And I just think
Hmm.
it's a compelling look, number one, but then also a very beautiful way to showcase again his like the in world and the out world and where he feels, even though it's always
Hmm.
chaotic in there, where he feels like, okay, I can at least be here versus the unknowns that are out there. I think that's like an interesting visual demonstration of it. So yeah, I think on the visual standpoint, again, I was very much impressed through and through, all throughout this film.
Yeah. Story wise, your thoughts?
Not as tuned into the plotting of it. There's some moments,
No.
again, the comedy
No.
moments I think are great. The stuff like him trying to do the frequent flyer miles,
Dude,
the
it's so
pudding
good. The
cups,
pudding cup subplot. Yes.
him being forced by fear of, the people that are blackmailing him that he's going to just take this trip to Hawaii to one, get away from them, and then two, to see her. I think, this stuff kind of works. My overall, it's not an issue with the film. It's just why my personal connection to it isn't as strong as yours or other people might have had was I just wasn't that invested in their particular relationship. Like
No, it's so
their
cute.
conversations are entertaining. Like I love again his like awkward discussions and her trying to like coax something out of him. Obviously, she is fond of him, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like a strong connection. Like I'm not rooting for them at any point in the film to like get together. I just wasn't that tuned into it. I wasn't that invested in it.
I'm rooting for him to be happy, and that's what will make him happy, and I know that.
Hmm.
And that's what I care about. And I also want her to be happy, and I believe that being with Adam Sandler's character Barry would make her happy. And I think I think it's a great story about anger issues. I think it's a great story about love in relation to like just being angry and frustrated with the world around you, not understanding the world around you, and trying to find somebody that helps you understand and makes you understand, and like that makes sense. Like, someone that makes the world make sense when everything else around you is just complete nonsense. Trying to deal with frustrating customer service people who won't let you have your frequent flyers because of stupid loopholes, sisters who are incredibly passive aggressive that you overreact to that make you so angry.
Right.
Um, which is like an amalgamation for people you've known for a long time, any family members or long friends that might know how to poke your buttons who keep doing it even though you've asked them not to, and that might drive you up a wall. Scammers, literally just scammers driving you absolutely insane because you made a mistake. Like
Yep.
everything is tearing at him and ripping at him and pulling him, like every limb is being pulled in a separate direction. And the world just makes sense when he's with her. And that's why I love when he goes to Hawaii and he's just with her and everything stops and it's like calm again. And I think it's just beautiful. I think it's beautiful. I love the scene where he is trying to find her and he's lost in her apartment complex because he turns back to go and see her and he just can't he can't
Yeah,
figure out where he is or where her apartment is. And then he finally sees her and she opens up the door and they kiss. Ugh, it's just romantic. It's so romantic. You find somebody that makes the world make sense, that makes it worth living, when everything else is just shit.
yeah,
When everything else is just stressful and chaotic and angering, you find somebody that makes it worth it, you know? And I love that. This movie makes me believe that makes me love, makes me believe in love.
oh,
Not
that's
as much
cute.
as some others, but certainly, you know, I mean, there's others, you know, like Before Sunrise, When Harry Met Sally.
Oh yeah,
There's plenty of others where I believe in love a little bit stronger, but I
and
think
that's
this one is
the
another one.
I don't know the concern there because conceptually, I hear what you're saying, and I like that this goes for that. But on an emotional level, I just didn't feel it. Like when Harry met
Mm.
Sally Before Sunrise, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling their connection. I'm like swooning when they're swooning for each other. I'm like, this is great.
I think you need to
For
get
this, I
angry,
just didn't.
Ryan.
And again, I am often a very angry person. I
You've become
had
angrier
anger
as you've
issues
gotten
growing up.
older.
That's not true at all. Again, which is funny because most people see me, and I am like I'm generally pretty mellow and calm, collected in certain
Yeah,
circumstances.
of
Again, everyone
course.
on set when I was doing my film was like, "Wow, you're like insanely calm." Like it seemed like nothing
Yeah,
ever bothered
I
you. And
believe
again,
that.
internally, I'm like thinking a million ways that things are going wrong, or to try and problem solve
I think
things.
you've
As
become much more vocal and much more curmudgeoning as you've gotten older.
I still don't know if that's true. I think
No, I think I can stand by it.
because I mean, you thought with Mason or people that knew me when I'm younger, like I again would have quote unquote anger issues. I just never. I don't think I've ever been
No, I don't believe that.
unable to control anger issues when I'm around other people. I don't think that's ever been an issue
Yeah,
for me.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
but I've always been
I have.
stubborn and argumentative and stuff like that. So I don't know that I've become more curmudgeony. I just may be less unwilling to express some of those things. But
Yeah.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying because like some of the like sure getting scammed is annoying without a doubt, and again like having some people bring things up in your past that you're ashamed about and then being upset about that. It's like I understand the like some of where the anger is coming from as well, but it's just the moment where he's like yelling at his sister on the phone in a very over the top way where I'm like I like that's not okay. And I also don't know that his anger issues ever really get fundamentally addressed throughout the film. Like, sure, he finds her and he's sweet with her, and that's great. But I'm like, I'm not necessarily convinced that the next time they go to a family outing where one of his sisters calls him gay, that he'll, uh, not flip out and crash into the window again. So, um, and that's not like the biggest issue. I don't know that we need to see that play out in him, like meaningfully have that addressed. It's just for me personally, I'm like, okay, I'm not all that tied up into whether or not he ends up happy or ends up with this girl. I think it's entertaining. I'm interested in watching, Sandler play this out. I just wasn't, there with the character.
No, I disagree. I love his character. I think it's just as good as his character in Uncut Gems.
You know whose character I was there for though?
Who?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I fucking knew it. He's so good. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Shut up!
Shut up!
Are you threatening me, Dick? It's just so good. Um, yeah, again, obviously that's like the most famous collaboration that PTA has is with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I say this without a doubt.
He's
He is
great.
my favorite actor of all time.
He's just always amazing. Like you put him on screen, no matter what, you're
Yeah.
glued to it. You're going to be invested in what he's
I
saying,
think
how he
he's by
says it,
far the
the way
best
he
actor I've ever seen. Yeah.
the way he acts.
Just
It's
so
just incredible.
committed to loving his characters and understanding them and understanding like the larger picture of how that character fits into the story and playing into that. He's just a genius.
Yeah, without a doubt. The goat, the goat. All right. So how
Absolutely.
many pudding cups out of 5 are you giving this?
I give it 4.5.
4.5. Very high price, official.
Absolutely.
That wouldn't be in your top 50 though. If it's 4.5,
No, probably not.
it'd have to be a 5-star, bro.
It's close. I love it. Maybe if I watch it again later, I'll love it more. But it's still 4.5.
I give 3 pudding cups out of 5.
You dick.
Are you threatening me? Shut up!
Shut
Shut
up!
up!
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
All right. Inherent Vice, 2014. This is one of the few PTA films you had not yet seen
Yes,
before.
it's this
Gotcha.
and Licorice Pizza. Licorice Pizza is now the only one I've never seen.
All
I
right,
gotta hop on that.
you sure do. Again, incredible stuff in there. Bradley Cooper
Yeah.
plays an amazing character and an incredible scene, like an old timer in that. But Inherent Vice, he did a collaboration with Joaquin Phoenix yet again, right after he did The Master with him. This is, as you said, adapted from a Thomas Pynchon novel. So, as far as your initial viewings, your initial impression, what do you think?
I liked it. I thought it was shot gorgeously. I thought it looked incredible. I thought it felt like it looked like so alive in every single scene, so dedicated to that style.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had fun with it a lot of the times. It's very long for the story they're telling, and it's very much intentionally convoluted. Like it is like a stoner's detective story, start like through and through. Like it is. There's so much paranoia, and there's so many characters that sometimes you don't even meet, and so many side stories, and everything's connected somehow. Like there's just a lot going on, and I think I went into it thinking it would just be kind of a detective story, and I think I had to adjust pretty early on to realizing that this was like the detective story part of it is very much not the main purpose of the film, or not the main intention that PTA was going for. He
Yeah.
really likes the characters in the novel, and he really likes the characters that he's adapted them to be, and he really likes the setting, and he really likes the way the characters interact in that setting. And the fact that it's a mystery is not nearly as important as to how fun and vibrant these characters are and can be in these settings, and how wild the story gets at times.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of fun. I think each, like, the story is just kind of Joaquin Phoenix going on little vignettes as he tries to solve this mystery
Yeah,
and
just
meeting
talks
these
to a new
crazy
person
characters and
and
fun
moves on.
cameos. And it definitely has fun moments. I just think maybe it carried on a little too long. And I don't know. There were just some scenes where it did drag a little bit, but for the most part, I really love the way that I was like iffy on Joaquin Phoenix a little bit at first, but I think he won me over pretty early on into just kind of enjoying how he's just so paranoid and so committed to this character of this 70s detective who's just high out of his mind all the time
Yeah.
and is just encountering the most bizarre of things all the time. It felt like the closest thing to PTA doing like a Coen Brothers movie,
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
almost. And I fuck with it. I absolutely fuck with it. I think it could have been a little funnier given the settings and the characters. I think we could have leaned in the humor a bit more. But no, I love the performances. I love the characters. I love how he shot it, and I love a lot of like the intimate dialogue scenes that Joaquin Phoenix has one on one with a lot of people, which we'll get into.
Mm-hmm.
What are your initial impressions?
So I had no idea what this was going to be going into it. I was just like, all right, we're going to press play, see how this goes. I didn't even know Joaquin Phoenix was in it when I fired it up. And so, yeah, I was not sure what we're getting into. But like you, very quickly, I figured out, okay, so we're doing a detective story, but where
Yeah,
the
quote
mystery is
unquote.
not all that important. And you really shouldn't even try keeping up with it. Like at a certain point, I
Yeah.
just gave up trying to like remember the
There's
names or
just so
whatnot.
many other mysteries interlaced into this one mystery. You're trying to
Yeah.
find the rich guy, but then you find him like halfway through the movie, and then you're trying to find his girlfriend, but then she just shows up randomly halfway through the movie. And
Hmm.
then it's like, what is the mystery now? They're hiding heroin, like a bunch of heroin. Then he gets the heroin. Like there's a lot of things going on that just don't matter. Like the
Yeah.
mystery does not matter at all.
Exactly. So at a
He
certain
doesn't
point, I
actually
had to,
solve anything really.
yeah, not really. Just sort of walked through,
He just keeps finding clues and
stumbling upon
stumbling into
this.
things, which
Yeah,
I think is kind of funny. Like, I guess he technically solves things, but it's really because he stumbles into things, just hears things. I don't know.
yeah.
It's a
So
very
it's like
odd movie.
a send up of like a detective noir type deal
Yeah.
with a stoner PI that's going through all this stuff. Um, and so I think there are elements to it that really shines. Like I do love everything with Joaquin Phoenix and Josh Brolin, like their little
Oh
opposite
yeah.
attract
Josh
dynamic.
Brolin is so good.
It was very compelling. Um, so I love that part of it. There's certain sequences that I think were great when they were at the Golden Fang, the dentist part of it,
Yes.
and then the one girl shows
with
up
Martin
that he had
Short.
like
He's
helped in a
so
previous
good.
case, and then they're like doing drugs right then and there before they all hop in a car and drive, and then inevitably get pulled over. Like that sequence, I think is fun. So I think it has snippets that are just
Yeah,
really compelling. Like, I think some of the Owen Wilson stuff when he met him in the fog, very much the
yeah.
noir part of it, and they're just chatting about
You just can't see shit.
yeah, um,
You can't even tell that it's Owen Wilson.
just from the voice. That's the only way you would know.
Yeah,
Um, so I love those parts of it. But on the whole, I agree with you. I'm like, this is too long for what this is.
it's pretty long.
Also, I don't know that I cared that much again about like the characters themselves.
Sure.
Like seeing them on screen is entertaining, seeing their interactions can be entertaining, but I was not like deeply invested in Sportello and
Yeah.
what he's truly quote unquote looking for as he's on this like quest to find Shasta, but then also find all these other things with the Golden Fang organization and how it has its claws, I guess, and everything. So
I think if I watched it later, I would like it more. Like if I watched it again at a later time, I think I'd probably enjoy it a second time more. I think there's just a lot that I've missed, maybe because I wasn't paying attention to some parts because it was dragging a little bit. But I think I don't know. I think if I go into it next time with the expectation not to really follow the mystery and just to kind of enjoy Doc as a character and like his misadventures that he goes on in this 2 week period or something, I think I could enjoy it more from that perspective because there's just a crazy amount of fun things that happen in this movie that kind of get glossed by from my perspective because I'm so hyper focused on trying to understand the mystery that I just need to let it go before the movie even starts and just
mhm,
enjoy the ride. So maybe if I watch it again, I think this is one of those ones that will get better each time I watch it. In the
yeah,
same way that I think Blade Runner also gets better every time I watch it, because to me, that also has a little bit of a convoluted mystery to it. And I think I just enjoy the themes more of like humanity and what it is to be human. And I think I need to just lean more into like those vibes as opposed to trying to track down, the replicants at the same time that Harrison Ford's tracking them down when I don't even really know what's going on or what this world is. So that
right,
movie also gets better the more I watch it. I see a lot of connections between this and Blade Runner in my mind.
interesting. Yeah, I feel the same way of like Blade Runner is one of those that gets better every time. Um,
Yeah.
but for this one, I don't know that I'd be compelled to do a rewatch because the vibes
Mm.
they're like I don't know that I'm like overly in love with it.
That's
And
how I felt
then
the first time I watched Blade Runner. I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to watch this again.
hmm,
And then I didn't,
interesting.
and it was better. And then I watched it a third time, and I realized it was flawless.
Well, all right. So we'll see if that tracks for Inherent Vice. But yeah, for me, I'm not itching to give this another rewatch. Despite again, there's
Sure.
like portions that again like stunning throughout, very competently made, but certain elements I just felt nothing as I'm like watching it. I just felt nothing at all. And then other elements, the that one little like brief, not even montage, but just like flashback between Sportello and Shasta when they were going out to get drugs and then they got caught
Yeah.
in the rain, so they never were able to. And just like that night that they were there, just having fun in the town, like I thought that was very beautiful. Like that invested
Yeah.
me into it a bit. I thought that was
I was
very
vibing with that a lot.
sweet. But it's like that's just such a small snippet of like
Yeah.
the overall film. Um,
What did you think of the narrative structure of like him hallucinating a woman to tell the story?
I thought it was compelling. It fit with again, this dude being drugged out like crazy.
Yeah. It's
Um,
unique for sure.
so like I like that, but ultimately, yeah, this is one I just didn't vibe with on a whole.
I can understand. I vibed with it. I think his interactions with the characters were enough for me to jive. And also, just from a technical standpoint, incredible.
Indeed. Well, all right. How many chocolate bananas out of five are you giving this?
Dude, that shot of Joaquin Phoenix watching Josh Brolin eat the chocolate banana for like a
It
minute
goes on for so
and like
long.
Josh Brolin is out of focus. I laughed because I was like, I see what he's doing here. And then it goes on for another 45 seconds. And I'm like, come on, man. It is so funny.
Yeah.
Unbelievably funny. I'm giving it 4.
Four. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, not for me. 2.5 chocolate bananas out of five.
We'll see in the future. We'll watch it again. I'll make you watch it again. I'll watch it again if I like it more. The next time I watch it, I'll make you watch it again. I
Okay,
probably won't
that's a
watch it for
deal.
a couple years though.
That is a deal. But
It'll be a while.
yeah, again, the Punch Drunk Love, people adore that film. So I'm the odd one out there. You got a lot of people
Yeah.
that love it with you. Inherent Vice, I
There's
think,
not
is
a huge
definitely,
love for Inherent Vice.
yeah, not
There's
one
a
that
lot of
most people
like,
click
I
with.
think, but not a lot of love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again,
It's a tough
admiration and
one.
respect for the filmmaking stuff and for the strong
Yeah,
choices he
absolutely.
makes. It's just not, again, not my speed, not really something I connected with for the 2.5 hours that we were in it. So,
It's long. It's definitely
yeah,
long. I
but there we
can't
go.
wait to talk about Phantom Thread with you. Every time I think about Phantom Thread, I think that I remember liking it more than I actually do, and then I go and I watch it, and I'm like, no, I don't like it enough. This movie is amazing.
Yeah,
Can't
I'm
wait to talk
excited
about
for it.
Phantom Thread.
I am excited. My final PTA, aside from Hard Eight, but again, that always is like the redheaded stepchild. No one really brings
Heart
up.
It's really good too. Heart It's a really strong like debut film with a
Hmm.
lot of A-list fucking talent, man. People who became A-listers, people who are already A-listers.
Indeed,
It's impressive how many people were in that movie. Sam Jackson's in that movie.
that is
It's
wild.
crazy. No, I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I think all of his movies are interesting and unique and amazing. And he has had like an unspeakable amount of uncountable amount of influence upon me.
Well,
Nothing
that
but
is
love and
beautiful.
respect for that guy. A true artist. And I can't wait to talk about One Battle After Another next week. Check out our podcast next week. Everybody go see One Battle After Another this week and then tune in for that. That is all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph McDade.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars whatever podcast app you're listening to. And tune in next week for One Battle After Another. We've been waiting for this movie for so long. I'm so hyped to talk about it. Please, please, please tune in and go watch that movie. Please do it. Have a great